Hi, my name is Michelle Santora. I am a 5th grade teacher. For my unit plan, I decided to focus on westward expansion and work closely with Lewis and Clark. I have a class of 27 students. I have 2 students that receive IEPs, and I have 7 students that receive reading intervention support. During this video, there was no students videotaped or used in this lesson. For my classroom management, I use Class Dojo, which is a website that parents and teachers can work on, and I can give positive points to the kids throughout the day when they're doing something that is positive, and negative points when they're doing something that's off task. And the parents get to see it at the end of each day. So for my lesson plan, the goal or the objective was students will explore Lewis and Clark's expedition using books and laptops. The third day of this lesson, students will be gathering the dates that they collected the day before to create a timeline. So the idea of this lesson was to create a timeline and show why it was important to remember the important dates throughout Lewis and Clark's expedition. The first thing I did was activate students' prior knowledge. So I talked to them about the first day lesson when we watched a video on Lewis and Clark from the History Channel. So we had a mini discussion about who Lewis and Clark were, why they were important, what did they do, and why did they do it. After we had a mini discussion, about 5 minutes, we talked about why it was important to use a timeline. And again, that was another student-to-student and teacher discussion. After we had a mini discussion, we got the laptops together, and I explained to them the directions that they were going to be using the laptops and any of the books in the library and westward expansion to find important dates and key details that talk about Lewis and Clark's expedition, and they had to jot it in their self-studies binder. After they gathered this information, I broke them up into groups according to their reading levels and writing levels. And they got to share their information with their group. And then after about 10-15 minutes, when they got to either add on to their notes or teach others about the information they gathered, we came together as a whole class and we shared out some of our ideas to get ready for the prior day when they created a timeline with a group. Their homework assignment was to continue researching at home and to interview their parents to see what they remember about Lewis and Clark. So for my assessments, I looked at their individual notes when they were on the laptops, and I looked at the whole group notes, and then I also looked at the group timeline. So some modifications. For my lower level students, I made sure to have a list of online websites that I could use in case they couldn't find their own. I also had a low group on the carpet with me so I can be walking around helping them with their laptops if they needed my support. Another modification I did for my lower students was I had a sample timeline for them. I had a starting date and an ending date for them, so then they just had to find the dates for in between, which helped them get started. So this was my lesson plan. The idea was for students to create a timeline, gathering dates and important details of Lewis and Clark's expedition so they can realize why it was important to westward expansion. Thank you.